Welcome to another episode of New Game Plus, and this is us celebrating ourselves a little bit. This is a little bit kind of the self-indulgent episode, but what I figured we'd do is get a bit of a look into the future of what we think gaming is going to be with some of our, I guess, past contributors and people that we've had on the show who have now gone on to do much better things than our television show. To my right, I have Steve Wright, Mr. Stevivor himself.
Hello. Hi.
Hello. I have Miss Alice Clarke, of course, from
Hey.
the Herald Sun and various other...
And the age.
And the age. I did forget about the age.
Let's do both.
Peter Costello took over, it just disappeared from it. Doesn't matter. And Mr. Rocket Chancellor on the end, and Ghiggino.
G'day.
Hello. G'day. There you go. Now, I guess you guys, it's been a long... Well, not so much for you, because you did NBA for us a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm still around. You
You're
can't
still
get
around.
rid of me.
Yeah. You two guys, been a
You
long
filmed
time
in my
between
house.
drinks for you.
Yep.
How have you seen the industry? Well, have you seen the industry change since those early days of when I had the energy to do a lot of stuff, and now I don't, because I don't go to press junkets or anything?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of changes in our little industry, like the journalists, the
Yeah.
enthusiast press, whatever you want to call us side. You know, we had MMGN was still around back in the day.
Oh,
so
cool.
was Game
Yeah.
Arena.
Yeah,
So was
yeah.
Game Informers.
Yeah.
It was one by one, just kind of like getting picked off. And while it's horrible news, obviously,
Yeah.
it kind of benefits the ones who can still remain, if we're being deadly honest.
Well,
So-
there's that void still to fill, and I guess like the only big one left, got GameSpot, IGN, PC Power Play. I guess they'd count
Tuck
with
is
that.
still around.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
some magazines that are sort of
Hanging in there.
Yeah.
I mean, Eurogamer and stuff got bought out by Reed, which is interesting because I mean that's it's that kind of awkward, like they run the events and Reed does all this stuff, but they also own like a journalistic outlet as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's a bit, you know.
But we're still here,
That's
and
true.
that's the
That is.
important part.
That is.
And thanks for watching, and thanks for
And-
reading, and thanks for supporting us, so we can keep going.
How about
for
you,
being
Adam?
super-
Like, what do you reckon's been the?
Look, as long as you're tenacious, you can stay at it. As Stevivor has been, and as we have been, I think people seem to become more attracted to independent publications more and more, as we've seen the rise of influencers and people sort of going towards YouTube channels or specific voices that they sort of agree with or that they find interesting. So we've moved away from sort of larger sort of collaborations or I guess conglomerations of writers.
I
Yeah.
guess that's probably the two-edged sword, and you bring it up
Yeah.
really well there, is that, people are going more to people directly because they trust them, but then also sometimes you get people getting locked in that, and I hate to use the word, but echo chamber as a result. Like, they get stuck with these voices they're only hearing, as opposed to these dissenting voices, which someone found out very recently, you're not allowed to have dissenting voices on Kojima games. Have you found that that's been hard to adapt to? Because I mean, we always had like a core community, but we've noticed more and more that it becomes, if you say anything that dares to deviate from this kind of mainstream message, you cop a little bit. Maybe you're a bit insulated from that with the age.
Yeah, well, it depends. So I do more of my game writing for Herald Sun,
Yeah.
but weirdly, I don't get a lot of feedback on that. It was more on my opinion columns that I get the
Yeah.
people writing in.
And you,
That
and
was
you did
my
get a
mistake.
fair bit for, and they were very good articles, don't get me wrong,
Thank
but
you.
like, I'm when I read it, I'm just like, oh, fuck, rip Alice's inbox, this is not gonna,
Yeah, look, writing about marriage equality for the Daily Telly certainly
Oh,
did
God.
yield some
I
comments.
mean, that's just rolling up your sleeve and just reaching into the cesspit at that point.
But
Trying to,
there's also, like, I think people discount the readers of the Herald Sun because they just see the vocal minority who can be like some of my esteemed opinion colleagues. But we have some awesome readers. Like, I love the vast majority of my audience, the Herald Sun, because we get to have these conversations, and the paper does have such a diverse amount of opinions. We've got Miranda Devine and Andrew Bolt, and then you've got me, the opposite.
very the opposite, yeah. Actually, a human on the other side, which is not,
You can say that.
I can say that. That's true. That's right. But I mean, like, is it? I don't know. You obviously had the very recent controversy
I still
surrounding
don't know
that.
what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
and it's so. And keep in mind that it was like you, and a few others were the ones who were the kind of the dissenting voices, but everyone else was, of course, just hailing it as a critical masterpiece and all that.
I think it's a testament to Australians. If you look at the Australian
It was the
scores
Australian-
compared to, if we're
Yeah.
talking about Death Stranding, we're talking about. I don't want to talk about Death Stranding, but I think if you're worried about, and it might be different for someone on Twitch or someone on YouTube or something, but if you're worried about what people will think about what you think about a game, you're doing
Wrong
it wrong.
attitude. Yeah,
Like, I can only
absolutely.
play Death Stranding, try to articulate why I didn't like it, and hopefully someone will read that. and not just go straight to the number and decide to hate me. But like, you can't worry about it. You put on the blinders, you make sure that you're presenting your argument in a efficient, understandable way, and that's all you can hope for.
And I guess it is the hard part about being Australian, and this is why a lot of mobile game companies use us as soft launches for their games, is because we're a vocal minority, we speak English, we're pretty passionate about our games. Like, we overrepresent for how much we represent as far as how much the actual money that comes through. So we are that perfect test audience, and as a result, that it kind of lends our things a little bit more credence, where it gets picked up and kind of turned into that. And I know you had the thing with Tomb Raider.
God, back in the day.
We got emails about because you were on our show at the time, and
Yeah.
it was like, these guys were. I'm like, mate, no, that's 100% an Adam problem, not a my problem. So
Sorry about that.
no, I don't care. I just laugh at him. So yeah.
Yeah. No, look, it's I just love how passionate gamers get sometimes. I mean, if you're doing your job right, you will be getting people as passionate as you are, reading your reviews as you are writing them.
Yeah.
The whole point is you've got a unique voice, or you've got a unique insight, or something you can bring to it. And if people are getting either up in arms, or if they're reacting positively to it, either way, at least they're responding to it.
That's true.
And that's the entire point of what you're doing in the end, is to offer something into the community that only you can provide.
The opposite of love isn't hate, it's apathy. And that's that
Yeah.
thing. Whereas at least if you're getting a reaction at something, I mean, I'm sure people's inboxes disagree sometimes, but at least you're getting something out of them. We've only got 2 minutes left, and I figure you guys are some of the best people to ask on it. What do you think the future is going to be? We've got the new consoles coming. I'm pretty convinced that Sony's going to flub it real hard this gen. But I'd be interested to see what you guys think is probably going to be the next trend, or something that you're interested in seeing how it pans out in the next year.
Accessibility.
Yeah?
Accessibility is what the next generation is going to be all about.
Yeah.
Microsoft has established that battleground,
Mm.
and the more players I see and how the gamer base is getting older, accessibility is going to be where you win more players.
Yep.
Because everybody, at some point in their lives, if they're lucky enough to not die young in a freak accident, is going to need some form of accessibility features.
Yep.
Very good. We're seeing like the blurring of lines already. We're talking about, whatever Microsoft decides to do with GameStack. They've
Yeah.
put Minecraft on multi-platforms.
Yeah.
They've toyed with Ori on Switch and achievements and stuff. But like in today's news, MLB the show, not that anyone cares about baseball,
Yeah.
is going to be on Xbox or Switch. Like,
Yeah.
Publishers are starting to realize that you can't just contain.
And Sony was the hardest nut to crack on that, because it was like the cross-play arguments were always Sony won't let us. Like even Fortnite, you had to have, if you registered on a PS4 with your Fortnite account, you couldn't play that. You couldn't
But
access it.
Sony didn't need to. They had the install base.
But that comes into Microsoft was super confident from 360 to 1, and they got
They flubbed it
burned.
hard.
And I
They
think Sony's
screwed
going to
it
do
up.
the same
I
kind of thing.
feel,
I
yeah.
think they
All
can
the
just
film
control.
broncs are taking over. That's my worry. Like the exodus is happening and the influx is coming. And the only good Sony movie at the moment is Spider-Man. Mr. Adam, I'll give you last say.
Oh God, the future. Probably something to do with cats. People like cats, right?
Yeah.
Just plug into a cat.
Yeah, the Ori 3
Oh,
visit to the cat cafe or something like that, like the cat forest. It's like
If there's achievements, I'm in. I don't
yeah.
care.
If there's cars, I'm there.
See, we're all
Or
just yeah.
basketball.
Okay, all right.
Lego cats.
Okay, yep, I'm
There you
sold.
go.
All right, well,
I
while
don't
these
like
guys keep
cats.
talking about their individual fantasies, we'll keep going on. Thank you very much for joining me, guys, and thanks
you very
for supporting the show and the bits that you have.
Happy
worries.
birthday.
Yeah.
Birthday.
Thanks for having us.
Anniversary.
Thanks for letting me be a part of the show. It's been pretty cool all these years.
Happy 300th.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're old now.
Thanks, I am. I was always. Now, this is the New Game Plus celebration of 300 episodes. 300 episodes of my life I've spent making this. Anyway, so what I decided to do was bring back a lot of the old heads you may remember from the very, very early days of New Game Plus, which are now 8 years ago. I have Brad, Mr. You're not the Yoshi anymore, you're BlessRNG.
BlessRNG,
Right, so he knows the pose, you went straight into it. Mr. Serbi, Weed and Retro. Still Weed and Retro after all these years?
Steel, weed, and retro.
Bleed blue or whatever you guys are called?
Red.
Red, okay. Well, that's everyone bleeds red. And Mr. Tim Forster at the end, of course, the long-term co-host of Level 3. And New Game Plus, let's be real. So I guess that is like, the starting point of it all is we all left the old show, we came onto the new show, and I don't know, like it was a long time ago in that house in Mulgrave. Like there's the scoop. It was filmed at a house in Mulgrave originally for the first one.
And now we're filming at this awesome bar.
So we are on my TV for most of the time, and then we're working with the guys here at GGZ to do some cool content out of them as well.
Yeah.
I don't know, like what have you guys seen change the most in your time connected to the landscape, if you will? I guess you're the most like tied into this, so yeah.
I've seen so much with the medium that people are engaging for content these days. So many people are now, instead of just embracing things just like print media and television, which is fantastic, and people still engage in those drives. But obviously, as me who's transitioned into it almost full time, content creation in terms of live streaming and that kind of YouTube space has been a huge change. I mean, Twitch didn't exist when we started this thing.
It was Justin TV.
Yeah.
It's like my Justin TV. When I first signed the partnership email, I had to switch it over from my Justin TV.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was something, all right. So, yeah, it's been a long time for Twitch as well.
Yeah.
Pre and Amazon buyout, of course. So
Exactly, yeah. These days, that is such a major way for people to absorb content to the point where there's other platforms that do it, like Mixer, YouTube Live, Facebook Gaming, even ones like D Live, and then other places like other unique platforms for that all throughout the world. It's become such a mainstay, and the accessibility of people being able to do it is really simple. I mean, don't get me wrong with the television production. Just here, there's like 10 production staff.
Yeah.
Whereas a streamer, it's me, it's like, yo, what up? I'm a home. Here's my 4 microphones. How good's Fortnite? I did it. I'm famous now.
Yeah. I'm getting that mix of money now. I guess the other side of it as well is events, and that's where you still do a lot. You still have are you incorporated into the retro space? Do you work with people, or is it just you guys at PAX?
Well, it was when we had EB Expo, we were doing the whole thing.
Yeah.
So we'd be taken out to either interstate, whether it's most of them were Sydney, one was Queensland. That was the last.
I remember.
hurrah.
And
That was a
the
really good
original
one.
one was Queensland, and then it was Sydney.
That's
and then
right,
it was Queensland.
yeah. And then now it's PAX in conjunction with Oz Retro Gamer, Press Play on Tape podcast, and then there's also a separate area where it's just the arcades, pinball machines, and so forth.
Does people still have the wonder for it? Do they still go, oh my god, it's like...
Yeah, that's still, you just get a buzz like seeing all, especially dads.
Yeah,
with the kids.
yeah.
I remember I remember actually EB, the first EB we done in 2013. And And this guy, I swear, nearly dropped his baby. He saw an Apple IIe, the green screen, and he just, get a bit of a mindgasm. And apparently he's working in IT now, and he got his start on the Apple IIe. So you still get those little moments that you just, it makes it worthwhile.
And what about you, Big Dad? You're out of the life now, aren't you? You got the real job. You still play the video games. You see you on Dota occasionally and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
Do you enjoy games more that you can actually have time to enjoy them? Or?
Definitely.
Yeah?
Coming out of university, as soon as I got free time, my weekends freed up. It was great. I could actually put time into games, put time into Dota, back into WoW Classic. Oh, really
you guys
back into WoW Classic.
Man. Discord is literally just pings for Dota dads, or like what do you guys call yourselves? Horde. Something awful like that.
Yeah, and now it's all about the Pokemon in the esports lounge at the
Yeah,
moment.
that is true.
They're taking over.
Pokepals. Our esports lounge, as much as we call it esports lounge, is literally just, hey, who's up for X? It should just be like, looking for group or whatever, like you want to call it or something. But I don't know. I mean, we've obviously discussed how our side has changed. Like, how's your personal perspective on games? Like, do you still enjoy it after all? I mean, we've been doing it a long time, and again, you spend like literally 300 episodes of the old show, including this one, of your life playing games for review. It doesn't make it fun.
Yeah, it's definitely a different perspective because you're not analysing it critically anymore. You're not looking for those flaws. You just sit down and you play a game that you want to play. You don't necessarily have to put time into a game that you've just been given to review. You can spend the time on the games that you want.
I think to go further into that, as someone who streams games these days, I don't need to look at it likewise with the same analytical perspective that you would for television. I just put the game in, have fun, entertain a couple hundred people, and just have a good time with it. If a game is fun, it's fun. If a game sucks, I'm like, this game sucks. And just very in the moment and a lot less time to formulate a good analytical opinion.
Though I guess the flip side of that is you always have to have your backup game ready to go. It's like, God, this game sucks. I'm going back to X. You know what I mean?
Definitely done that before.
Yeah. So, crap, I have to get rid of it and play whatever your backup game.
There was one segment where I got sent a bunch of games from a Hong Kong distributor. Gave each game half an hour. A lot of them after 5 minutes, I switched. Mighty Number 9 was one of those. I was like, I'm going to change to this random Chinese RPG. This is really good, but the English is terrible. I guess the benefit of that compared to television, where I remember when we had 45 seconds to talk about a game, which is very hard to be concise for. Now I can play a game for 100 hours and go into it really, really detailed if I want to.
Do you play any new stuff? Are you still all the old retro stuff? Is the way to go?
Now I've gone down the rabbit hole that is PS Vita collecting.
Oh my God. You can't help yourself. Well, every goddamn time it's like, hey, but here's a console that was sent out to die. Oh, I love Atari Jaguars.
I'm gonna
now it's a
adopt it.
PlayStation bit.
I saw a dev,
It's like a lost home for these future retro things.
I saw a dev kit for sale the other day, and I was very.
Don't tell him that is. He's grabbing his face.
Sorry.
Right?
I think it's still for sale. Yeah.
Talk later. Yeah. So so I went from 17 games, physical media only.
Yeah.
Went
Of course, I forgot the stack of cards. Yeah.
That's right. So it's from 17 last November to 179 as of today.
They
How many
made
are
that
there?
many for Vita?
I think there's about 600 or so.
And half of them are like skirt pencil games. Like you control the hand while you grab. Criminal Girls 17. Yeah. Well, yeah,
Not that there's anything wrong with it.
No. Well, I mean 17 there is, but I guess the last thing. What are you guys looking forward to most? We've got to wrap it up. We've got like a minute left. This is TV. We have to be.
Oh, that thing, I forgot what that is.
I guess like you got the new consoles coming. You got all the kind of changes in gaming. Like what's exciting you the most coming up?
I'm loving seeing all these remakes coming out of older games. Some people are like, it's not original, but it's like people who perhaps weren't into games when we were into games, people have been playing for a while. They get to enjoy these stories that we got to enjoy in a whole new way.
Yeah.
And we get to relive them as well. I think that's really cool, and it brings a lot of communities together. I really like that.
Fair enough. That's a good answer, Mr. Serby.
For myself, being a dad now and work and family and everything, it's more fun collecting.
Yeah.
Which kind of was what I was doing before
I was
anyway.
I was thinking the whole thing was okay.
Yeah, so-
how many more copies of Baku Baku can one man have?
Well, I've got 3 at the
I
moment.
figured it was at least more than one. Yeah.
So it's just collecting.
Yeah, fair enough. What about you, Big Dad?
Very much looking forward to building my new computer for Cyberpunk 2077. My
The
God,
more
that looks
things
amazing.
change, the more they stay the same too. I guess on that note, thank you very much, gents. Good to see you. Hopefully we'll see you at 400. But no,
I'm
should be
still
good.
alive, so.
Oh, wow, hey, you never know. You never know. But thanks again for joining me, gents.
Thanks,
Cheers.
Thank you.
Come by. Well, it is the end of the 300 celebration for New Game Plus, and the whole they don't know you're here yet. You're not supposed to say anything. Jamie's here. He just ruined it. Don's here. Jack's here. Thanks, Galia.
No worries, I'll come
Yeah,
in.
that's fine. I'm not
300 episodes of professional
In
media
one shot.
training.
Jesus.
But I guess, like we've done the Ghost of Christmas Past, we've done the Ghost of Christmas Future. What about the Ghost of Christmas Present?
Here we are.
And we're right near Christmas.
I'm
It's like-
sitting in a bar talking
That's
about video
true.
games.
You are sitting in GGZ Melbourne's premier esports.
Did you
bar.
ever think in the time you were doing the show, you would ever be sitting down at the bar talking about video games in front of a camera?
Well, I've done it before, multiple times.
But also these two gentlemen.
That's
here.
true. They haven't. That's fair.
I've shot some weird stuff.
No,
Take that out of context.
Check out his grinder profile. Yeah.
NewGamePlus.tv
Yeah.
/Pornhub.com.
Yeah, slash grinder.
Yeah.
But no, like, I guess it is one of those things where, like, we've always been about supporting local community and especially Melbourne. Like, we're Melbourne boys through and through. You're an adopted Melbourne.
I've been brought into the fold since. I mean,
Well-
2 years ago, you were like, you're not really a Brisbane boy. You just happen to live there.
Yeah, and,
now I've actually
Brisbane is just Melbourne in the 70s. So,
Yeah, and I finally made the move. Like, it took me 3 full years.
Yeah.
In the 3 years that I've been with New Game Plus, it took me the full period to get here. And then next year I'm going to study and you'll barely see any of me. So
Nice.
Oh,
Good
man, that's
work.
all.
Good
Yeah.
work.
So like, we've done a lot of. I think in the early days of New Game Plus, there was a lot more of like field reporting stuff. Like you were going to a lot of venues here in Melbourne and like seeing a lot of that stuff. Man, this place would have been great 7 years ago. Yeah, right. When did Bartronic open? Anyway,
we don't talk about that here.
no. And then, like, since I've joined, like, Meg and I have done so much field reporting, right? Like, we've done MEO, we've done the Speedrun Marathon in Adelaide a few times.
You run a lot of pack stuff for us. So
Yeah. So, like, seeing that community support has been really, really important for me. And same with Z Games. Like, as much as we haven't been able to support Melbourne stuff as much, like, we did an entire episode on Brisbane game developers in Melbourne.
Yeah.
What? In shooting this episode and our Game of the Year episode, it's been incredibly apparent that I'm a fake gamer and do not play games to save my life. But God, I love hanging out with this community so much, right? Like going to PAX, socializing, networking, drinking a lot. Like all of that stuff, going around the country and going to all of these events. I love doing that so much more than actually playing games at this point.
I mean, and so you kind of taken a step back into on the levels a lot of the specific reviews and that kind of stuff. Like, has that been something for you to adapt to, or are you actually preferring that you don't have to shop every week and be like Johnny on the spot every goddamn week?
it's almost like a boomerang because I started doing the news segments.
Yes.
And now I'm doing the news segments. I get to read off of a teleprompter instead of having to memorize 6-8 minutes worth of monologue.
So one of the earliest memes of New Game Plus was Don and his goddamn teleprompter, and all we kept doing was linking him the apps on.
And I got my teleprompter in the end at our fancy RMI TV studio facilities. Thank you, RMI TV. But also just seeing the scale of story that is that we get in gaming news. Like back then, like the big exclusive would have been studio announced X. Cool. Looking forward to that. This year we had literal international diplomatic crisis.
Yes.
It's probably more speaks to the state of the general world, more to the world of gaming.
I would say gaming in the zeitgeist has become more of a thing.
But also, just like when the fact that when you have news, like just mainstream news outlets talking about things like Blitzchung, or on a much more happier note, like Pokemon Go.
And that has definitely been a shift in the last few years. And I mean, even yourself, you started many years ago writing articles for a certain black and white website. Do you remember those days?
No comment.
Yeah, no comment. But now, I mean, you've been doing like videos that go straight up like direct to YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
You've been doing the recommended, which is your little series there on games that people might have missed all those years ago.
Yeah, I guess I think I've become weirdly more confident because I was as a shy kid, 7-8 years ago.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden I'm cold emailing people at Sega saying, "Yo, do you want to be on a PAX panel because I've got big dick energy now?"
That's right. Yeah. Well, and that was one of the because we've always done panels at PAX. Like we've had a few Japanese ones, a few obviously you guys did the trivia for many years. I would say that we've obviously done a lot of that kind of stuff. But I would still say the best one that we've done was that Yakuza panel that you and Matt put together. That was very well done, and I think having Scott there was a real boon. And I guess it is that thing of it's the one thing that I miss that we don't really get the opportunity to do as much anymore because we do a lot of in studio film. Maybe we have to fix that for 2020.
Again, I genuinely don't believe how I landed there, but yes, that's the thing we need to look into.
So it's sometimes you just got to ask. You can only ever be told no. That's the thing in this life. You can only ever be told no. And once you're told no, you got to wear that. That's probably the big point. That's 2019 in there.
You've been asking us all a lot of questions. It's time to ask you, Jason. Like,
how jaded have you gotten over the last?
No, I was jaded from the day I started this. This is 547 episodes of television.
Were you on episode 1 of the old show?
I was one of the first original 3 hosts.
Oh,
I was 21
you were
when I started.
You were one of the levels.
20. I was one of the levels.
I just got it.
Actually correct. That was the point. Yes, so I was 21 when I started. All those years ago. 13 years ago. 13 years ago.
Bloody hell.
And so I've been doing it a long time. So I've seen it all come and go. And I've seen a lot of the changes come and a lot of the people push in from above, and especially obviously with the push towards like cash raise stuff and esports and things, is the lesson I've learned is that money won't always win. It'll just make it easier for people who do win. Do you know what I mean? So if there isn't that actual dedication to it or that actual willingness to stick it out, they'll be out in 3 years. And I mean, we've seen that multiple times where people just come in and go, and they're and I guess you got to have that love for it. Everyone here's not doing it. I'm not paying you this. Like, I hate to break it to you. It's like, I might feed you occasionally, I might buy you some food.
Where's my envelopes of money?
I was like, where am I getting all these sacks of dollars?
The off-site trailer.
Yeah. But I mean, like, there's got to be enough passion here for people to do it. And hey, he's all stupid enough to show up for 300 episodes. So
thanks.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's also a
We
testament
keep coming back to the abuse.
Yeah.
That's all we're here.
Well, it is also a testament to the passion of, like, say, of the communities, whether it be the developer community, the publisher community, or even then just the people that play games with us and watch us every week.
And obviously, being on TV is a little bit different from being on YouTube and all that kind of stuff. And then it takes a little bit.
We are on YouTube.
We are on YouTube, of course. So don't forget to check that NewGamePlus.tv. YouTube.com/NewGamePlus.
Smack that subscribe button.
But yeah, like we have all the other outlets, and Moment TV still our focus. Next year, I want to change that a little bit. I think TV shows where I want it to be. It's, like there's a lot of things we can do about it. Obviously, the crew hate hearing those words because it means that I'll shift focus a little bit. But I don't know. I'm excited for next year. Like 3 years ago, I was debating packing it all in. I'm not going to lie to you. It's like I was at that point where this is before we really kicked off at RMI TV, and I'm like, if I was going to pack it in, now's the time. Like, now's the time to just step away from it and just go, cool, I've accomplished what I want to accomplish. I want to get to 248 for Liam's sake. He can throw his ring away now. But
the fact that we've come so far as well in that period of time, like we were shooting out in Doveton, out in your house.
Don't tell them the secrets of the show.
Oh, I'm gonna be real. When I saw that place for the first time, it's very different seeing.
How good did it look on TV though?
It looked incredible on TV compared to behind the camera. Oh my god! But since then, we've gone to RMIT.
Yeah, the Westies glad we're not having Doveton.
Yikes! We've gone to RMIT. We've changed RMIT studios. Gone to 2 different buildings now. We're doing more off-site stuff. Like we've done a lot in that period of time. Meg's come back.
Yep. It's been been a very interesting year. So we're hoping that you will join us for 2020. But do not forget to check out newgameplus.tv. All of the social mediums: Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram,
Pinterest.
No.
New Game Plus TV. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me. To the crew behind the camera, thank you for all your help over the years. Anyone who's helped make the show what it is until this point, we couldn't have done it without you. But we will definitely see you next year for 2020. Wiggles fingers.